Spanish football expert Graham Hunter told talkSPORT that it's the perfect move.
Lucas, for the dominant part of the season, has been letting goals fly past him on his touchline. Trent Alexander is a massive upgrade, and I think he will fit into La Liga like a hand in glove. If they get it, if they pull it off, it's a brilliant move for him. It's a brilliant move for Real Madrid. And give it 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the new season, and everybody in England will be saying, "Oh God, how we miss him." Not like, well, he's occasionally a bit lackadaisical defensively.
Yeah, I mean, I feel very strongly he'll be a big success at Madrid. Do you,
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I. I think it's, clearly with those players and his passing ability, I think he'll do exceptionally well. Good luck to him.
Yeah,
good luck to
absolutely,
him too.
Yeah. For more of the day's biggest headlines, head over to www.talksport.com. Right, Shebahn is back with us.
Hello, we're talking about Marcus Rashford. He's trending on social media today. At some point, I think we'll move on from this conversation of was it the best move for him? Was it the best thing for Man United? But we will discuss it today because we're wondering if we're seeing the best of him at Aston Villa. Is there still another level?
Oh, yeah. Oh, come on, we're pleased for him. His first goal was good. He scored a penalty. Excuse me, and I think that's probably the best performance. I haven't seen every Villa performance, but certainly I would think maybe the best performance we've seen him since he's moved. But I think he's got to start doing that on a consistent level,
and in the Premier League,
and against the top teams, which he is incidentally more than capable of.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, I don't know what people get off on this, but disrespect towards the fact then it's Preston North End that he's put 2 goals past yesterday as well, saying that it's not actually been good enough. So then you can criticise him for that, or you can look at the positives and say, well, actually maybe it starts his form going for Aston Villa as well.
I think we've got to be fair, and we'll always attempt to be balanced, and we've given him stick, and I think justifiably so on a lot of the occasions, because his performance level hasn't been up to what it should be. And that's why I don't think automatically, you asked the question earlier on about Manchester United, is it an indictment against Manchester United? It probably is to a certain degree, but Marcus Rashford's got to look at his own level of performance at Manchester United, which for whatever reason I don't think was up to scratch. But he's had a great performance at the weekend and scored 2 goals in a quarter-final in the FA Cup tie. Well played.
Yeah, no, brilliant. He looks vibrant. He looks like he's enjoying his game as well. It's not been disrespectful to Preston, though, but he does have to do that against the Liverpools and the Manchester Cities before we can say Marcus Rashford is back where we think he belongs.
I think we can all agree on that. But when you look at when people would say this just shows how bad it was at Manchester United, actually when you look at the list of players that have left United, a lot of them have flourished. A lot of them. You look at Alanga, you look at Wan-Bissaka, who's having a decent season. Scott McTominay, who's not well actually over the weekend.
Great result they had, by the way.
Sancho could be playing in the Champions League next season, and Marcus Rashford is in the Champions League and now into semi-finals of the FA Cup. But when you look at Sancho and Rashford's situation, that was off their own accord to speak almost against the club on social media. So those situations are different. Therefore, Unai Emery seeing something in Rashford and saying, I want to take a punt on him, I want him as part of my squad, shows what kind of manager he is. And Rashford is lucky he got the second chance.
There's never been any doubt that all these players you've mentioned have got ability, right? And weren't, with the exception of maybe McTominay, by the way. I think McTominay's doing really well at Manchester United. And I think,
he's all heart, man. I've never got rid of him.
I was a certain little bit surprised at Manchester United when they got rid of somebody that was playing
completely
well. Yeah, and that surprised me. But the majority of the other players you mentioned there weren't performing to the level. So yes, there'll be an element of criticism everywhere, coach, club, individuals. But sometimes, as Jeff said, you've just got to get a move, to get away, to hear a fresh voice, fresh support, fresh surroundings, new teammates, and it works for you.
Yeah, but I do think you've got a point, Shebahn. You do look at the number of players. Wan-Bissaka, has been absolutely terrific this season for West Ham.
But then they've gone up a level because these teams are outperforming Manchester United. I mean, there's a number of problems there, and hopefully we are now seeing the change. It looks like Ruben Amorim's the man to lead them forward in the future, and we're seeing the structural change at the club as well. We think it's as bad as it hopefully can be, and they will bounce up, they will move up. But when you look at players who are now performing better elsewhere at clubs who are doing better, that could be a problem.
This might be a bit of a controversial thing to say, but however, I believe it's probably harder playing at Manchester United than some of the other clubs in the top flight for the reasons of the stature of the club, the history of the club, everything about it. And there is probably a club that has had more success than certainly most in recent history. I'm obviously going back to Fergie, and there are certain demands at that football club that they might not just be as great at other football clubs. Whether our supporters of other clubs would agree with that or not, it would be interesting.
Well, Liverpool fans are not going to agree with that, are they?
There are one or two exceptions.
The demands there are just as big, if not bigger.
But you're talking about a club of a similar stature. I mean, I don't think the same demands at Villa. I'll be brutally honest with you. I do not think Villa fans will be absolutely thrilled at where they are. Villa are playing the first European tournament, FA Champions League, since they won it in, what was it, 82 when Peter Wiss scored against Bayern Munich. That's the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is they're not used to and demand as much success as a club that Manchester need to do. Liverpool are an exception. Manchester City are an exception in the current climate, but not for the last 25, 30 years. Manchester United are.
Heavy lies the shirt, that's for sure.
talkSPORT Breakfast, waking you up Monday to Friday morning from 6 a.m. on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.